Hello guys, welcome to the Havel Lab today. My name is Babatunde Arolo, and today we're going to be talking about exponents and integers. Okay, we're going to be doing with problem type 2. Okay, so what this means is we're gonna be basically what exponents mean. Okay, I'm gonna start from the basis. What exponents mean? Exponents basically means power. Okay, so if we see something like 5 to the power 3, this 3 is the exponent. Okay, and this basically means 5 times 5 times 5. Okay, so we're going to multiply 5 3 times in this case. So the exponent is kind of like a counter, tells us how many times we have to multiply a particular number. Okay, so in this case, that number was 5. And we have to multiply 5 3 times by itself. Okay, so that's what we're going to do here. Okay, when we're given this type of question, we'll be asked to evaluate specific integers. Okay, and we'll be given exponents to kind of work with those integers. Okay, so one thing I also want to put out there is you have to be careful with the signs that you're working with. You have to know if the sign is attached to the number or not. Okay, so let's take that out. Since we're already done with that, let's look at this question. This question is asking us to evaluate minus 7 squared and minus and then bracket 5 squared. Okay, so if you notice these two questions, they look similar, but they're not similar. Okay, some people might say, okay, well, let's multiply minus times this 5 here, so it can just be minus 5 squared like as it is up here. But no, that's not how you work on it. Okay, you have to know where the square is being attached to. Okay, so in this first question, minus 7 was attached to the square. Okay, minus 7 as a whole is attached to the square. Okay, since there are brackets holding both of them. Okay, so the bracket here is holding minus 7. Okay, but in this case, the bracket only holds 5. It doesn't hold the minus. Okay, so we can't just come over here and say minus and then multiply it by 5. Okay, I don't know if you guys have, if you've heard about the BODMAS. The BODMAS basically tells us the order of how we should work with signs basically, and the bracket always comes first. Okay, so we have to work with whatever is in the bracket first before we actually go outside. Okay, so the B stands for the bracket before any other thing. Okay, so based on that, we can come over here and see that, right? Okay, so let's start with the first question. The first question says minus 7 squared. Okay, so minus 7 squared, what this basically means is we're gonna have to multiply minus 7 2 times. Okay, based on this example, I put it up here. This is 5 cubed. I have to multiply 5 3 times, right? But this is minus 7 squared, which means I have to multiply minus 7 2 times. Okay, so basically what this means is minus 7 times minus 7. Okay, sorry, my handwriting is not the best. Minus 7 times minus 7. Okay, and when we do this, when we multiply minus 7 times minus 7, remember there's a minus in front. Okay, we don't want to switch that up. We don't want to cause confusion. When we multiply a minus times a minus, that gives us a plus, right? So minus here times a minus here gives us a plus. So 7 times 7 itself gives us a 49, right? So this is plus 49. So instead of writing a plus in front, it doesn't really matter. We can just put a 49. So whenever I see like a plus something, plus 3 or something, it's the same thing as 3. Okay. So plus 49 equals 49, right? So this is 49. And let's go to the next question. Next question is minus. Okay, emphasis on the minus first before the bracket inside the 5 and then the square. Okay, so what this means is we'll have to put the minus out here and then multiply 5 2 times. Okay, because it's 5 to the power 2. So we'll put the minus out here. Okay, so this minus is basically going to multiply whatever we get in here. Okay, so this is 5 times 5. Okay, so 5 times 5 equals what? To 25, right? So this will be minus times 25. Okay, so we know minus, so basically this is a plus, right? We know minus times a plus equals a minus. Okay, so minus times a plus here will be minus 25. Okay, so we waited for this minus to, we stayed with this minus first, and then we kind of worked with whatever was in the bracket first before we expanded outside. Okay, so that's what we did here. So let's look at this. Minus 25. Check. Yeah. Okay, so let me explain what I did here. Basically, what I did here was I kind of asked myself first. I asked myself, is the minus inside or outside the bracket? Okay, so in this first question, the minus was inside the bracket with 7, right? And we had to square minus 7. That means we'll have to square both minus 7. That basically means we'll have to multiply minus 7 twice. Okay, so we'll multiply minus 7 times minus 7. Okay, and when we multiplied minus 7 times minus 7, that gives us plus 49, right? And the plus 49 is the same thing as 49. Okay, so the next question here, I asked myself the same question. Is the minus inside or outside the bracket? In this case, the minus was outside the bracket, right? And since the minus is outside the bracket, we have to multiply whatever we get inside the bracket times this outside minus. Okay, so we have to do 5 squared first. We have to work with 5 squared first. So 5 squared basically means 5 times 5. Basically means 5 two times. Multiplying 5 by itself 2 times. So 5 times 5 equals a 25, right? That would be a 25, and then times this outside minus. So we know minus times a plus 25 give us a minus 25. Okay, so more practice. Okay, feel free to pause the video if you like, so you can test yourself if you want to. Okay, so let's get to it. Okay, so this is basically the same thing we're given in the previous question, but it's just that the exponents were changed. Okay, the previous question, the exponents were 2. This one is going to be 3. Okay, and we're going to see how that is different as we walk through this example. Okay, so this is minus. The first question is minus times 4 to the power 3. Okay, first step, is the minus outside or inside the bracket? The minus is outside the bracket in this case, right? And in this case, the bracket is holding raised to the power 3, right? So that this means we're going to have to multiply whatever we get in here times this minus, okay? So basically, this is saying minus times 4 times 4 times 4. So we're going to have to multiply 4 3 times, right? So when we multiply this, whatever we get in here, we're going to multiply that by this minus. Okay, so this is basically saying minus times 4 times 4. That's a 16, right? 16 times 4, that would be a 64, okay? So this would be 64. So when you put these two together, 4 times 4, that gives us a 16. Then when we multiply 16 times a 4, that gives us a 64, okay? So this is a minus times plus 64, okay? No, whenever we multiply a minus times a plus, minus times a plus gives us a minus, right? So this will be minus times plus, give us a minus, and then 64. Here, basically, this is same minus 1. This is minus 1. 1 times 64 is also 64. Okay, so we're done with that. So this first question, the answer is a minus 64. Okay, so this becomes a minus 64. So the next question is basically the same thing we worked in the first question. Okay, so this minus 3 raised to the power 3. And we're going to ask ourselves, is the bracket inside or outside the parentheses? Okay, so the minus is inside the parentheses, right? So in this case, we have to work with whatever we have inside the parentheses as a whole. So this is basically saying we have to multiply minus 3 to the power 3, which is basically meaning we have to multiply minus 3 times by itself. Okay, so this is minus 3 times minus 3 times minus 3. Okay, and so we know minus times minus equals what? Plus, right? Or plus times a plus equals a plus. So then a plus times a minus equals a minus. Okay, so this table will be really good if you can keep it or kind of know it or memorize it. Yeah, but this is what we're going to be using. This is what you're going to be using all through your mathematics life. Okay, so this is minus times a minus first. Okay, minus times a minus, we know that equals a plus, right? That is a plus, because we have to work with these two first before we go to the next one. Okay, so this is 3 times a 3. That's a 9, right? So that gives us a 9 here. So we're done with these two. These two give us plus 9. So now the next step is to multiply by minus 3. Okay, we know a plus times a minus equals a minus, right? So this equals a minus, and 9 times 3 equals what? 27. So the final answer here will be minus 27. Okay, so minus 27. Check. All right. Thank you very much for watching the video. Hope it helped you out. Have a beautiful day ahead. Bye.